Good. It's and you guys will clear it up.
To clear it up, yeah.
You came in and I didn't know if you came in. Got it. Stacy and we have the next meeting. We can don't turn them upside down. Yeah, we'll just put them in different spots. You have your hands full with your secretary. That's wrong.
Okay. I'm not sure what I.
But just make sure that
Rick didn't go on a vacation.
Again, I want you to go.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure what happens.
she's done it. You know, go through.
Yeah, and what I was thinking, I put you could pick it.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't there.
The agenda. Yeah, you know, for the bonus. I have to do it at a good time, you know, I have to be at the same time. That's how, the one that I have learned words.
Yeah, my great shot.
You can tell the lines coming out, that's what you can. You guys bless their butts if that would ask the
Mr. Orr? Present. Ms. Cook? Present. Ms. Eisenhart? Present. Ms. Falcone? Here. Ms. Hassler? Here. Ms. Pummer? Here. Mr. Stockman? Here. Mr. Moore? Here. Next we have election of council president, which takes 3 parts. We all received email from Mr. Ernst on July 22nd stating he wanted to remain on council, but that he was reminding us effective that date
as council president. So we need to take a vote to see if we will accept his resignation as president. Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're resigned. Next step is, we need to be doing nominations. I will begin with nominating Elaine Callowhill, and if anyone else has nominations, please speak now.
I'd like to nominate Cal. I'd like to nominate Julie.
Do people have to accept the nomination as they're nominated?
Oh,
I don't think we had to, Julie.
okay, if there are no more nominations, we go in order of the names nominated. So the first one is Elaine, is that correct?
Correct.
All in favor of Elaine as our new president, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Elaine is, by a vote of 5 to 2, excuse me, is the new president. Would you care to come up here? Yes.
Is yours here?
Yes.
That was mine. This will start with communications. That's next on the agenda.
We received an email from Jason Robinson, Fire Chief for Topton Volunteer Fire Company number 1, to receive council's permission to have National Night Out using Broad Alley for the event prior to set up, and then during the event, and then clean up. Also asking for barricades, closing of all the areas that need it.
I'll make a motion to accept that.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Now we have discussion.
So, we have discussion. Anybody need to discuss anything?
I have a couple of questions.
Is it Oak Valley or Borough Valley?
They advertised it as broad and they requested it as broad. Yeah, so it becomes oak, then becomes,
Yeah. What if it rains that day or the day before? If we're having fire trucks on the,
that day,
They're not gonna be on the grass, they're gonna be in the alley.
so that day, if it rains, they're not gonna have it in the alley, they're gonna go to the fire company, they have said. Because they don't want the kids participating.
If it's raining the night of National Night Out, it's being moved to our station. And everybody's aware of that, that's it.
Are we gonna advertise this on our site or?
What we do is we share previous, the organization's posts, like, car show. It wasn't our event, it was their event, so we share a post
Okay.
that they create, whoever the organization is.
So it will be at the fire company if it rains.
Correct.
And do we know what they need for us to be prepared as a town for this?
For
So just sign.
trash receptacles, all that. You need anything that's, we discuss that, it's more.
That's not out of the norm, we did it for the car show, so we
Yeah.
can contact Jason or any other fire company persons involved in this.
Are there any other questions? All in favor? Are there any other communications besides that?
That was the only one. Sorry to add to the agenda, but the timing,
Oh, no, that's good.
timing was,
Capital planning. So first budget meeting, so we're gonna talk about the dates for the coming year, 2026. So Stacy, I'll take it.
so council was provided with the revised list of the capital plan items under each fund, general fund, water fund, sewer fund. It was revised because some of the projects have actually been completed, so were deleted off of the list, and some were added. So general fund covers all of the streets, all of the alleys. Streets are being worked on in the future with Ms. Palmer's street plan over the next course of 3 years with the loan that we have. Hawes and Smith Street stormwater pipes still need to be replaced. The water course is under the general fund as restoration stabilization. Barry has given us some guidance on what the cost may be when we do it. We spoke to DCNR when they were here to inspect the Oak Alley project that was recently completed. They said there are grants out there, but it would only cover 50% of the cost. If no one is aware, or if you're unaware of what the water course is going through, it's eroding people's properties, and some people's properties are very unstable. One gentleman, our property owner, has a shed that is very close to tipping into the water course, which is not very deep, but that's destruction. Another person at the end of the water course on our streets has a fence that's in danger of going into and just falling off, to the edge.
Do we have a map of the water course that we plan to replace?
Sure. It's all the whole plan that
I'm just
yeah.
curious,
Yeah.
I don't think I've.
You can visit the office, I'll give you
Okay,
the
cool.
area. I said, also surveyed property lines to see where our property lines are and in relation to the water course and other private properties.
Is it mainly like on that side of town where it kind of
It's
looks?
between Weiss and Penn.
Just, oh, that small area.
Yes, Weiss and Penn, it connects Weiss and Penn. Yep.
Is that information you would be able to copy for us, a couple pages?
Okay. And then we have our ADA improvements to our building that we were discussing for the last few years. We need to fill in the pool. The parking lot at White Street was also listed. The salt shed on Keller Street and our Public Works building still needs to be done. So those are the items that fall currently under general fund. If anyone else has any input or ideas of other things that they've seen that would fall under general fund, please let me know.
Could I ask on a salt shed, I know it's at least 2 years we pulled the walls for Bowen.
Yep.
Has anybody looked at it, anybody from us that can give us an idea of?
They have in the past. They also are concerned with property lines and coverage of our parcel, because we have to adhere to permeable surface as well.
But you did say in the past that, if we do the same footprint of that salt shed, then we shouldn't have a problem with it.
Oh, good.
And we shouldn't have to increase that, right? Okay. So then we should be able to hopefully move forward.
But the salt shed has salt in it, and it has to be emptied to to do any
Right, but
construction.
if it's a line item for next year, then when we have the,
It has to be empty next year then. It can't be done like now, it has to be done next year.
this is for next year.
Yeah.
And the idea of the cost they said a couple years ago. I'd have to research that because if it's not on here,
Yeah.
I don't think they supplied it to us.
I don't remember going that.
I'm sure it would have come up, but
Anyway, yeah.
Any questions on the general fund capital needs?
Moving on to water. As you know, the backup well would need to be constructed after the planning stages and it passes everything that it needs to pass with testing. Is there enough water? Is there enough pressure? Is the quality good enough for potable water? Keller Street water line, we have applied for grant funding several times. We're still waiting on the last one. Barclay, we received the same water line main. We received almost half in a grant, but we still need to get the other half, so we applied again for a grant on that. But with those two, we also have the loan. So if in the next 2026 budget round, we decide to just use the loan funds, because we have 3 years if you choose to use the loan funds rather than waiting for grant funds, especially since Keller was turned down already. And Barclay was only half
the
funded.
funds, if the grant
So-
funds come in, you just put that money back in, correct? You can do that.
Well, no, if you've spent it already, you can't.
You can't replace it with funds.
So those are the choices council kind of needs to make, but we plan for the future with doing it because it needs to be done, because of the trend site at those locations. And then also Franklin Street because of the trend site.
Keller Street's the worst of all three, correct?
Correct, because of all the leaks that we've,
Right.
at least as far as we know.
And what they decided, what was the reasoning for them funding with Barclay Street over Keller? You know what I mean? But if we prioritize Keller.
We did before.
We didn't want,
We did before we prioritized Keller as more important than Barclay.
but can we still prioritize that and tackle Keller first? And then, like, how long do we have to use the money for the grant for Barclay Street? Does that have to be prioritized first?
It should be because of the time limit. It's usually a 5-year agreement, and we've
Okay.
already had the agreement for a while. But then, if that's for a while, then you need to spend our own money anyway.
Right.
So not waiting for the other half of a grant and using own money gets it done. And you can still then be in good graces with the funder who gave you that grant money. And then the final thing underwater that I have on the list are the lead pipe connections, but now that we know more about the requirements that DEP is putting on every municipality in Pennsylvania, it's really the responsibility of the property owner to replace at their cost. We replaced only the connections and not the service lines. So we have to find out where all the connections are and need to be replaced first.
So just for clarification, is it from where it goes into your house or from the street, from the street curb, should we say, into that line?
The line goes from the curb box into your house, that's the service line that has to replace by, if it is lead, it should be
replaced by the property owner.
correct. Okay. Correct. Yep. They were doing a survey that they were gonna tell us all last year, and it was fast, and then it's like, oh, they slowed way down.
Do we ever get results on which priorities have the lead pipes?
Well, at the last council meeting, if you recall, we sent out letters to those who don't know. So that's one piece of the puzzle. So we sent letters out, and I begged the community to get back to us on your letter. If you have a letter, please take a picture of your pipe or have us come and see it. And then we do, yes, have a list of all the other no, and we report it to DEP on that.
That's what I want to know, they provided you with a list.
We have to.
And if someone did,
From our records, we had to obtain what our service lines are made of. DEP doesn't have that information. We have to find that locally, and if we don't have it known, that's why we send letters out. We'll keep sending letters out until we have the component of your service line.
does everybody, if people did not get a letter, then they're not,
Then we
They
know
shouldn't
what
be
your,
concerned?
then we know what your line is.
okay, so if you do, so if someone in our community did not get a letter, then we already know what their line is. And if people do get a letter, that letter, what does it state?
It states that lead is dangerous.
And then we need to inspect their line,
We need to know what it's made of, and then we can,
we schedule an appointment with them.
whatever. There are different ways of doing it. We can send out lead testing kits, we can observe it ourselves,
I just
we
want to
can
know
ask them
if
to
it's
send
helpful,
us
so in case somebody
photographs.
gets a letter, okay.
And that was last November. And we have a handful of respondents.
And what's our deadline? Is there before?
We keep reporting, we'll have to send them again if we don't get responses. But we need to know.
Okay.
And then the connections then would be our responsibility, so that's the clerk to the street and all throughout the entire system through the town.
Do we have a list or any idea on how many connections?
We have some idea because of the map of all water service, the mains and where everything flows. But we haven't even touched on that, so that's a project in the future. Any other questions on water? And then moving on to sewer. Everyone's heard it before, Washington Street Pump Station needs to get done, it's gonna get done this year. So it's expected, like Charlie reported at the last meeting, to be done in the fall. So that's a combination of loan money, ARPA using it up, and a grant. The chlorination tank is also, now it's being bid, and they're responding to the bid, and that will be done this year. So those two will drop off for budget needs by budget time. If there is money left over after Washington Street Pump Station and the grant money and the ARPA money we need to use first, but then the loan money would be used last to pay for the Washington Street Pump Station, and if there is some funding left, we would be able to use it for other things. So that could be applied to a truck, because the green utility truck is the oldest one in the fleet. And we do need to finish the cammering of the sewer lines. And the cammering has been done with a replacement of what we found when we did all of the photography. That was done before I even got here, so 2018, 2019.
How much more is left, do you think?
Because Alex has been so swamped, I've asked him, but I don't know, I have a map, but that we just need to update where it's been done and finished and where we need to go. I don't know if it was a third, half, don't know, but that's a good question and we're working on it. Any questions on sewer?
The 04 utility truck, that's like,
And it's a utility truck, so
I was
it's
gonna
all,
say-
it's all equipped. It
it's
has everything
done,
on there.
it's just about done for. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought so, I thought that was like just about,
And we rehabbed his truck then, if you remember,
yes.
And how's that working out?
just fine.
You can only,
It doesn't have air conditioning, but, you know, this is,
you can only do that so often.
But it passed inspection.
Exactly.
That was really our concern.
and the
at
tires,
time.
I needed new tires, yeah.
But it needs to be replaced.
What's wrong with this truck? I mean, other than the fact that it's 20, 1 years old. I mean, it's
I think
22.
every time it goes for inspection,
It just keeps going more and more.
yeah, you know, it comes to a point where you don't keep sticking money into it. It's not worth it anymore.
I just wondered if there was something major. Just a normal,
But a utility truck isn't,
whatever, it's used hard.
yeah,
It's used hard.
exactly, because you have all that equipment stored on there 100% of the time. Any other questions? So, Ms. Plummer also asked about, because she's been attending training, about what we have in equipment, what we have in properties, what we have in vehicles, that then would need to be replaced in the future, not just the green utility truck. So what I'll do is I'll go through this.
We should have an assessment of all the equipment, and everybody should get a copy of where we're at with everything, if that's possible.
Yeah.
You do have a list, I think.
We have lists because we have to insure everything, and it has to be separated by these 3 lists. So I can go through, and see by age and, by age and need and any other information that you learned through your training, how to assess all 3 lists. So that's what I have, unless there's other questions.
So under capital planning, as far as buildings, parks, and equipment and land, is there any information to date on that, or is that something we talked about later?
Well, some of the buildings, I mean, this one you already know it needs ADA improvements. We always take a look at the roof on a constant basis, but it looks okay so far. Some of the recreational buildings that are insured by the borough as well as the team or association that uses it, like the snack stand for softball, baseball. So those, some of those, could use some work. But also, I mean, the salt shed has to really.
Salt shed comes
Yeah.
before their building.
Yeah.
I mean, softball has that building issues, but I just think.
But in terms of the sewage treatment plant, I think we're on top of those items.
Yeah, prioritize what's the worst.
And the water plant, I mean, they know what needs to get done. Have been doing it.
So as far as these additional items that are listed here, would that be stuff we'll talk about in more detail at a future meeting?
Sure. I mean, the equipment, the property, and the vehicles will work on more.
Because we want to get that salt spreader if that's possible. We should make that might be something we want to maybe investigate pricing right now when it's 90 degrees, because yes, pricing will be in summer versus
We
winter.
definitely need to get that for that, because now they have all the rest of that sidewalk.
So that was something that was on the list from last year that was omitted, so we didn't really apply for
Yeah,
that.
I think
If
definitely
we can do
I have some of it. Yeah.
And we didn't get it last year, and then we had an employee following us, and was injured. I mean, I'm not saying that the salt spreader would have avoided that, but
The other item
gotta make sure
that
you're
we need to
safe.
go on that list, we need to prioritize whatever all these things, would be, and we have to also look at, what our costs are for the required needs of the town, that comes first, right? So we have to be able to have enough money to pay staff and get the supplies we need to operate all of our funds. And then we see what's left and we prioritize spending for this other stuff. But on that list should also be that bathroom, locking system, just to be on the list. I know we have one quote for that, and maybe we could get a couple others. I don't know if there's any other items that came up recently, can't think of anything. Kathy, I think there was one other item you had mentioned a while back. I thought we needed.
So, Charlie said that we should be thinking about the pool, because we have an open permit on that, but we, in 2025, didn't put any money towards it, and there's no grant money in 2025, would we be able to find the funds to be able to finish the till of the pool?
So we had the loan that we needed to obtain to get the grants for the park. So since that's part of the park property, we can use those loan proceeds that are at the bank. That's what we planned on using.
Okay, because we didn't see that, okay. And so we need 50,000 of that cover that, you think?
Filling in the pool,
Yeah.
It's mostly rental of the equipment.
did we want to get some estimates for others to do it? Just to have those in case we cannot do it? Now, I wanted to ask the council if, well, the thing is, dilemma is that it's kind of a health hazard. We've got water running in there, mosquitoes, I mean, I know there have issues that we're aware of. The whole reason we voted on that when we did it several years ago was to try to get that done. What are your thoughts, Stacy?
I would have to get a permit again anyway.
And if we handle this, then we can handle the sewage line
Yes.
comes off of the building, so if those two things are possible to tackle this coming year, that would be, ideal.
And do we know what kind of timeline it would take to fill that bill in? Or didn't it take a month over?
Because of some of the are found, we don't know, because we thought it would be shorter for me, and there's a lot of rebar in that. So it required a different jackhammer than we thought, so we didn't start the larger pool.
Okay.
The baby pool was redone, wasn't it?
Yeah, from when,
Maybe that's when the rebar was added.
yeah, it was, it used to, it didn't have those sides before, everything just slipped down into it. And then they redid it and put the walls and, I see. It's a really good stuff, yeah.
Anything regarding land? Was that pretty much done?
Because of what Mr. Repper brought to the attention of council, that's why it did.
Oh, okay, okay. Is there any discussion on that needed at this point?
I don't think so,
So we're done with discussion on capital planning for today?
unless anyone else has any ideas or other needs for quotes, so I don't understand it.
Okay, hearing of visitors. Who's that, Mary Ellen?
Just out of curiosity, what's the status on the contract? Is, are we not into our second year?
We're still negotiating the contract. I can't go into details
So
on
I
it.
know, I understand, I know, it's not what I'm looking for, it's like, how close are you to getting a contract with these guys?
That's an unknown.
I think 2 years is enough time.
I agree with you.
They're being very patient.
Yes. Okay, before we adjourn, is there any discussion we're gonna have on the next step for our next budget meeting? Like, what do we want to bring to the table to discuss at our next, which will be our second meeting of next month, not our final. So the second meeting is more of a workshop. Any thoughts on that, Julie?
That's my 25th, yeah.
Should be here, yes. August 11th is the May meeting. August 25th.
What do you guys usually do, since we're kind of, wasn't kind of new? For the second meeting, or should we, like, do you want to play with this and have this ready to go for the next? Or what's the usual step?
There is no usual, each council's a little different and each year is a little different. We haven't done second meetings like throughout the summer since, what was that, 21 or 22?
22.
Yeah. So whatever this council finds that they need more information on, or
As most capital, through 20 years. You gotta worry about it. You can't flush the toilet or you don't have water. These people are going crazy. That's why the focus needs to step. And pile from there. Things about that. You got a lot of unknowns. Tons of unknowns. So you can't really, it's really, really difficult to do any kind of budget. When you have as many unknowns as this.
There are a lot of things where we may not be able to budget for because we have some unknown numbers that haven't been.
Those things are gonna have to be addressed.
So I'd like to see, this is just my opinion, would be, I would like to give a list of all our necessities that have to be, okay, so electric and heat for this building, all the things we need to operate, our operating expenses, I would like to get a list and a total projected cost for what that would be. And I also would like to see a total projected cost, and this may be over the course of a couple of meetings, Stacy, because I don't know that you're gonna have time to be putting all this together, but all of our expenses, total outlay of costs for all personnel costs, because those are musts that we have to have to run the town.
You have it fixed.
And then I'd also like to see what our revenue, projection of what we expect our revenue to be, because that's what's gonna dictate what we can do. Just my thoughts.
You can actually get some of that information on the budget versus actual report that Trinity puts across in every council meeting. If you look at what was budgeted and what was actual, it'll take you to that Friday before. So if you need the information right away, you just use the budget versus
That's
actual.
for the month though, isn't that?
That's total for the year, to date, like, like the next one that we get is gonna be to date, from January 1 to August. That's gonna show what we actually spent then. This is what was budgeted, this is what was actually spent to date.
Right, we need the budget for like what we're expecting for an entire year.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you wanna see what was
to date.
spent to date, you can just, it gives you all the salaries, everything.
Well, that's,
Your med,
she does that for the whole budget for
Yeah, but this
the
is,
full years.
this is just something, if you want to do it rough drafting, you can use that one for the training.
So, okay, is there anything that we want for the next meeting for Stacy to have, and get to us, print for us?
even in between, so we can study it, ask questions.
One thing would be, of course, a copy of the water course map, if you can email that, and then also, any information that is consolidated in a summary for having it said.
I did also ask, just for a ballpark, we asked for a quote on something that it costs money. To get something from Mary, I said, no, this is done, that's done, so you kind of have to just elevate it to what it might cost now. But for the salt shed, not a quote, not an engineer's quote or estimated project cost, but maybe Charlie, because he's seen it so many times, could just at least give us a ballpark, so we can at least prepare for the budget.
You had a number too, Scott, in the fall, right? You had a number that you know,
I just wanted to see if he could do it. but they never came out
And looked at it?
and did an
Who
estimate.
was that, Scott?
The guy out on, Underline Road, the Mennonite.
Oh, Martin.
Metal.
Part of the image.
Yeah.
I wish we could get some estimates from, I mean, I don't know, how much we need that now. 3 estimates, I guess. At least we have something to project for.
Well, if you think of anything besides Julie and I's work.
Okay, so the next workshop, what are our topics going to be?
We could just dive in and I can give you a draft of this.
Okay, all right, so, well, it gives us time to look at it, analyze it, and take it, so draft of, what do you want to call that,
The overall budget I fund.
okay, so we'll look at next meeting, and anything else? Is there any business to discuss? Then I guess I'll make a motion to adjourn.